In this session, we'll be showing how an administrator creates a CSV file and loads it into XSpectra for bulk loading users and mass. I'll be showing how an administrator selects the attributes to include in the CSV file, formats the CSV file, logs into XSpectra, selects the load and process task, selects the CSV file and configures the bulk loading task, approves the load and process task, and verifies the changes. So to start, I've navigated to the XSpectra support page, where we have a document listing the available attributes. I've searched for CSV file, and several articles came up referring to that topic. We want to create a CSV file for bulk loading users. So here's an article explaining just that. On this page, we have listed all of the current attributes that are available to be included in the CSV file. Now, any number of these can be added for any user. And we have quite a few, and these are available. Again, this is a public-facing website, so it's available for any user. And on the bottom here, we have an example of how the header of the CSV file should be formatted. The action needs to be included. This is a direction for XSpectra to take when the file is loaded. And then each attribute that will be included in the CSV file load. So we have org membership, user ID, first name, last name, user's full name, and email address. These are all the fields that are required by XSpectra to create a user. Any number of additionals can be added, but the user creation will not be completed without these attributes. The lines under the header can be as long as you wish. The first item will describe what action XSpectra is expected to take from the line. In this case, it's a create in organization Mycroft for user ID test ID 001, the first name, last name, and full name of John Doe, and email address of johndoe@demo.com. So by loading this example into XSpectra, the user would be created with this profile filled in. We have an example of a CSV file. As you can see, we've used the very same header. So we have action, org membership, user ID, first name, last name, full name, and email address. So we are doing several things on this load. We'll be creating two IDs. We have two create lines here. We'll be deleting a user ID, and we'll be modifying another ID. So we'll be creating William Hinton and Anna Spur, deleting Brenda Lewis, and modifying Victoria Coffey. We'll be modifying her last name, as she's no longer Victoria Coffey, she's going to be Victoria T. We'll be modifying Victoria Coffey's email address because now she's married and now her last name is T. I know, it's corny. So we'll save the file and we will load this into XSpectra. And that is how you would create the CSV file for bulk loading users. So first we would log in as an administrator. And we'd select the users tasks. Select manage users and load and process. This is the area in order to load a CSV file. Now what a CSV file does, it allows us to make bulk changes to users, whether it be creating users, deleting users, or modifying users, instead of doing them individually one by one. This allows many modifications, creations, and deletions to happen very quickly. So we need to select a file to upload, so we click Choose File, and we select the CSV file we wish to import. Click Choose, and then Upload. XSpectra will read the preview of the CSV file so you can verify that it is correct. So this is the information we wish to import into XSpectra. We need to select which field represents the action to perform on the object, so that's the action column. So we'll select actions from the list, and what field will be used to uniquely identify the object. So that would be our user ID. So we'll select user ID. Click Next. We are now asked to designate what is the primary object. A CSV file can create users, groups, or organizations. Now it's best to break this up into each category by themselves. In this case, the primary object is user, since there are no groups or organizations in our CSV file. We now have to select the task to execute for the action create. So we will be creating a user with a generated password. We have to select the task for the action delete. So we'll be deleting a user. So we'll be deleting a user. And then we have to select the task for the action modify. So we go in and we modify user. So if all is entered correctly, we click Finish. And now this request is sent to an administrator for review. Now the administrator can either approve or reject this request. Upon approval, the actions in the CSV file will be carried out by XSpectra. So we'll click OK. And since we are already logged in as an administrator, we get the request notification already sent to us. Just like any other request that's sent to an administrator for review, the item is listed in the administrator's work lists right on their home page. They don't have to go anywhere special to find this. This is presented to them immediately upon the request being sent. So the administrator would click on the request to review. They're able to review the request and understand what actions are being taken upon. After reviewing it, the approver would then approve the request, and XSpectra would carry out the actions listed inside the CSV file. Now it'll take a few moments, as there sometimes can be many actions happening at once, so we'll wait a moment. And now we'll go and we'll check some of the actions we've requested XSpectra to follow based on the CSV file. So we have created W. Hinton, deleted B. Lewis, created A. Spur, and modified V. Coffey's email address to Victoria T. So we'll go and we'll check some of these and we'll verify that these have been created. So the first one we'll check is William Hinton. So we'll search for this user's username. And now this user is created. So he's returned back in the system. So we click Select, and we verify that he is in fact in the system. Now, we didn't include any of the other information here, so this is information that could be later included in the user's profile. So we'll scroll down to the bottom, back to the search screen, and we'll check a few others. B. Lewis was in the system. Now when we search, it should not return any results since this user was deleted. We also created Anna Spur, A. Spur. Anna has also been created and is now included in the system. And finally, we'll check Victoria Coffey, whether or not her email address has been updated for the change of Victoria T. As you can see, her email address has been updated, so the CSV file has been successfully carried out by XSpectra. And that is how an administrator would load a CSV file into XSpectra. To review what I've demonstrated, the administrator had selected the attributes to include in the CSV file found on the XSpectra support page. A link's included in the video description below. The administrator formatted the CSV file, logged into XSpectra, selected the load and process task, selected the CSV file, and configured the bulk loader, approved the load and process task as the administrator, and verified the imported changes. And that is how an administrator creates a CSV file and loads it into XSpectra.